you are whole, you are holy. Understand this thing. Whenever you are whole, you are holy. They look at the very being, at the very root from where the basic disease is appearing, from where the cure can happen, from where the root is coming out, from which point you can remove the very root. The approach to the body or to the human being itself is totally different from the language of mystics. That is why for any disease, the same healing. You may think, how the same healing can work on any disease? Because there is no too many names. How many names you make, it is only one thing. Low energy, high energy, that's all. When the energy is attended, many people come to me for healing. They would have come to get healed some problem in the heart. But after 2-3 days they come and report to me, Swamiji, my stomach pain has disappeared. I had a tumor in the hip that has disappeared. How it is? I didn't tell you about that. I always tell them, never think disease are separate. You have 2-3 disease. Never think you have 2-3 disease. Disease means it is only one. It is only one. Low energy, that's all. The whole thing can be classified under one category, under one thing. So when you touch the root, you heal the disease. Whenever you touch the symptom or the part, you only transfer or postpone the disease. When you touch the root, only then you heal it, you cure it. So the mystic's approach towards the body has given birth to the Ayurveda and meditation healing. Whenever it is necessary some chemicals to be supplied from outside, they give the Ayurveda medicine. Whenever it is necessary some negativity to be removed from inside, they give the meditation. So the meditation and the medication both are the root of holistic idea or holiness, wholeness. The mystics look at the mind, look at the man in a different way. Philosophers look at the body, look at the mind in a different way. Next, in the mental level, the level of education or information, how the mind is looked by the philosophers. According to philosophy, you are a matured man if you know the informations. According to philosophy, you are a man who has got your own position or social status if you know the facts and figures. You don't need to do anything more. Just a fact is more than enough. Just figures are more than enough. Just if your mind is alive, active, if your mind has got enough of information, that is enough. That is why all the schools, all the universities, all the mental education centers, mental training centers created by philosophers, created by logicians, helps you to improve your concentration. They speak only on concentration. They speak only on collecting information. They speak only on processing the information. Collecting and processing the information, nothing else. If you know that, that is more than enough. That is why all the schools, universities, they train only on the facts and informations. They make your head too big. Your whole energy is just sucked by the head. And you should know a fact. Just a few months ago I read in a poll survey. In every university, when a person leaves the university with a gold medal, especially gold medalist, every university, at least some 50 to 60 people leave the university every year with a gold medal. Every department will be having a gold medalist. They took a survey after 10 years how the gold medalists are living. What is their life? They say more than 70% of the gold medalists live in a poverty land, in a poverty way, and broken relationship. Their lives are just hell. It's not small number, more than 70%. It is true. What I am giving you is a fact from a poll survey. I read it in a magazine. More than 70% either they live under the poverty line, below poverty line. And not only that, broken relationship. The life has become just hell. Why? Too much of energy when it is sucked by the head. You do not know how to forget your head. That's the problem. No, really. You can never live with a philosopher. You can never marry and have a good life with a lecturer or a professor. I tell you, especially philosophy professors. Because even in the house they will be like a teacher. They will be like a professor. See, your doctor, when he comes back to the house, he knows how to remove the stethoscope and keep. How to remove his overcoat and keep. Even a lawyer can keep some of his coat outside. But what will happen to professor? What can he do? He has to keep only his mouth shut, which is impossible. Almost impossible. It is very difficult to live with philosophers. It is really. If you have experience, you can understand. It's very difficult to live with philosophers. Because their way of thinking itself is totally different. They have gone so much away from the reality. They are actually in their own world. They live actually in their own world. That is why almost all the philosophers you can see, they will have a frustrated death. Last phase of their life will be filled with frustration. Because philosophy is like a running into the future. They do not know how to live in the reality. One philosopher, and one more thing, philosophers are the people who will never have pet animals. You can see these are all few things. Philosophers can never put up with pet animals. Because they want everything perfect. They will have no much time to play with pet animals. And you can see them. The philosophers cannot spend much time with kids. Because they need too much of perfection. The idea of perfection is nothing but idea of madness. You can see with philosophers, a continuous idea of perfection will be there. For everything, they want the perfection. They know how to cut things. There are too many symptoms. There are many symptoms to find out whether you are a philosopher or not. Philosophers can never laugh. Even if they laugh, at the most they can smile. At the most, not much. At the most they can smile. Because laughing means you need to forget your head. Actually, laughing means you need to forget your head. You need to forget you know too much. Even if you tell a joke, philosopher, I heard about this joke 10 times ago. 10 times I heard this joke. 10 years ago I read this joke. But even first time you would not have laughed. Because as soon as you read the joke, you will think, oh, it is from like that joke. Okay. It must be from that book. Or you will be thinking, I think this is from my book he has stolen. Intellectual property. You can always see philosophers can never laugh. Because to laugh, you need to have a little bit of innocence. The life of the philosophers, but one thing is great about philosophers, they will never go to hell after death. Why? They are already living. They can be sure of one thing, they will not go to hell after death. You can be sure of one thing. The life of philosophers is such, they are totally disconnected from the reality. They are totally disconnected from practicality. One philosopher somehow, by mistake, had a cat. It is not that he is bringing up, must be his wife. The cat has given birth to a kitten. Every night the cat used to come and stand outside the house and make noise to open the door. He is totally bored or disturbed to come and open the door. And you can see laziness is always great quality of philosophers. That's one more thing. Because so much of energy is sucked by the head, the body will not have energy. Even when they walk, you can understand, it will be very regularized walking. It will not be like a floating. When a mystic walks, you can see it will be like a floating. When a philosopher walks, you can see it is like a steady, controlled walking. Steady, controlled walking. Philosopher does not mean only a man who has studied philosophy. Even amongst you there are so many philosophers. Amongst you there are so many philosophers. The person lives with a tightness. You can always see he will be philosopher, intellectual. He may be in other field. Even in the field of art, poetry, painting, dancing, there are many philosophers. Somehow they enter into this field. They enter into this field. It is not that just because you are a doctor, you are not a philosopher. Just because you are a lawyer, you are not a philosopher. When I say word philosopher, I mean persons who are oriented too much on the head. Too much on the head. Too much of idea of perfectionism. Too much of conditioning. Too much of ego. When a mystic walks, you can see it will be like a flower flowing. It will be more like a floating. It will be more like a floating. When the philosopher walks, you can see it will be very straight, more or less like an army man. So this man, someone wants to get rid of this cat. So he called a plumber and told him, make 2 holes, one for cat, one more for kitten. Wife said, why? 1 hole is more than enough. In that itself, cat and kitten both will come. Philosopher said, keep quiet. What logic you know? You do not know anything about logic. I am a philosopher. When I say, do it. Yes, philosophers knows the logic. For cat, 1 is necessary. For kitten, 1 more is necessary. But only practical people knows, plumber knows practicality. 1 is more than enough. The person who is head-oriented will be so much away from the reality. That is why the gold medalist, all the university gold medalists, after 10 years, 70% of them live in poverty, broken relationship. Broken relationship. To relate, you need your being, not only head. I have seen many people coming and talking to me. Swamiji, my husband is such a great philosopher. It is so difficult to relate with him. And male come and complain to me. My wife is such a person of perfectionism. It is very difficult to live with her. Whenever someone is philosopher, you can be sure the house which is supposed to be a Dharma Kshetra will become Guru Kshetra. Dharma Kshetra will become Guru Kshetra. Because the philosophy makes you move from the reality. With philosophy, your energy is just sucked by the head. Only head, nothing but head. Just head, head, head. Nothing else but head. With mystics, the training of the mystics, the mystical education centers, ashrams. Ashrams are the mystical education centers. The philosophical education centers are schools and universities. Education centers for mysticism and mysteries, ashrams. Ashrams are the mystics. They always train a man not to make his logic or the head too big. They always teach him how to switch off and on the mind. Here, in philosophy, how to collect more and more information is taught. With mystics, how to switch off and switch on, how to use your mind is taught. Here, how to expand your mind is taught. With mystics, how to use your mind is taught. That is why in philosophy, nothing more than mind exists. The ultimate thing according to philosophy is mind, that's all. But according to mystics, ultimate thing is something beyond mind. They call it spirit or the self. They say there is something more than mind exists. Mind is nothing but one more component of your being. Just like you can handle the body, you will be able to handle the mind also. Mystics always teach how to handle the mind. Philosophers always teach how to expand the mind. Expansion of the mind needs concentration. Handling the mind needs meditation. That is why in all the philosophical education centers, the concentration is given importance. Mystical education centers, the mystical training centers, meditation is given importance. Here, awareness, there, concentration. Philosophy gives importance to concentration. Mystics give importance to meditation. With meditation, you know how to handle your mind. It is more or less like one more component, one more part of your system. When you want, you can remove, clear it and reuse it. When you don't want, you can switch it off, keep it aside. According to philosophy, mind is ultimate. According to mystics, mind is only second layer. There is something more in it. That is why in the world of mystics, they are always free from mind. Wherever the mystical education centers prevail, you can see depression has never attacked those parts of the world.